Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Good morning. How are we today? I always have to do it. I start like that. So I kind of was a little bit behind time only because I was trying to get my stuff together. So I'm going to quickly share to my personal page and then we're finna go from there, guys. You know how I do. We're not going to be here long. I don't believe in wasting time. I want everybody to tell me good morning, who's in the house this morning. So that way everything will do what it needs to do as I share this today because I'm super excited that we're going to discuss dysfunction again, right? But this one is going to go a little bit deeper today because it's going to be about your family. It's going to be about those things that we always want to talk about, right? Everybody always wants to talk about the reason that they have dysfunction, the reasons for their dysfunction. So this morning, we're about to go in. We're going to discuss family. We're going to discuss understand what we're passing down from generation to generation. Remember, this is all about mindset matter. And everything about who you are and whose you are is so important because if not, you're going to continue the cycle. You're going to continue just passing that thing down from generation to generation to generation. And then you're not passing down wealth from generation to generation. You're passing down dysfunction. And that's the dangerous thing. That's how you end up being in cycles. That's how you end up having the same generational issues, the same generational dysfunctions, because you're not passing down generational wealth. You're passing down generational dysfunction. Are you giving yourself, your children, and those around you the tools to survive? And sometimes it's hard to understand that because most people don't even realize that they're in a dysfunctional state of mind. So today we're strictly speaking about the prison of dysfunction, the prison of dysfunction. You have to understand that dysfunctionality, which I don't know if that's a word, sound good, keeps you imprisoned. And what's happening is that because you are locked down and confined to this thing, it's becoming overcrowded, if that makes sense. It's harder and harder for you to be able to do what it is that you need to do because there's no more space. You have no more capacity. You cannot take it anymore. Your mind cannot fathom. You can't keep holding on to all those dysfunctional things begin to manifest depression. Some of you think you're depressed, you're just oppressed because you keep wearing it and putting on the dysfunction because that's what's been passed down to you. So today we're going to talk about a lot of different things, like a lot of things like in the black culture, I would say the black woman is strong and, all these different things. And then you understand that that's not even having strength, sweetie. That's just you learning how to operate in dysfunction because at some point we were taught and believed that we could not express our emotions, that it couldn't look a certain way. And this right here could be general for women in general and even men. Sometimes you all operate in dysfunction because somebody told you couldn't acknowledge your pain or your hurt, or you just had to get over it, or you couldn't cry. And you have to understand the mindset can't handle that. So now you've been conditioned to walk around oppressed or possessed because you don't know how to articulate or even embrace what it is that, good morning, Susan, whatever it is that you're feeling that's going on. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to discuss dysfunction. Remember, dysfunction is any abnormal behavior, right? Things that keep you restricted. We're going to talk about prison and what that means because I'm so visual. Right. And so I embrace everything. And part of my learning disability when I was younger was that I had to visually be able to see it. And once I saw it, I got it. So once I saw the definition, it made sense. If it had a picture with it, that was even better, or a concept. So I like to give things to you visually because this is going to get kind of deep because I know some of you have dysfunctions based off your family. See, these things we've been conditioned to believe. It's not the things so much that your parents tell you not to do that you do. It's the things that they don't want to discuss that they're doing that you do. So if all they do is argue and make up, you assume that that's life. And so you start to operate in that dysfunction. You start to operate in that thing. And then you realize that maybe one of the parents is really hurting, but nobody acknowledged that. So you think I can't say anything, that I'm in this pain, that I'm in this hurt, that I'm feeling this type of way. And so now you're trying to You're trying to figure out, how do I get from point A to point B? For me, I always like to talk about myself. Okay, being violated, that's the dysfunction, right? Because I'm going to show you how deceiving. Remember, I told you fear yesterday. Fear is a manipulator, a mass manipulator. Fear is the mastermind behind everything, the mastermind behind dysfunction. And I'm going to show you how dysfunction will have you operating in such a manner because it holds you captive to the chaos. It holds you captive to the confusion. It holds you captive, having you thinking and believing that this is all your fault. This is because of you. That's how amazing dysfunction is. It is a prison. So now how do I operate? You know, my mindset, Tisha. Yesterday you told us that it was us. Right. Now that you realize that your choices are of you, now I'm going to try to articulate and show you how that is. Because my question for you today is going to be, are you passing down generational wealth or generational dysfunction? Because you think that you're installing some things, but most of us operate based off what we see. Don't smoke a cigarette. Well, if everybody in the house smoking, 99.9% of the time, that person's going to smoke. Why? Because that's what I see. You could tell me it's bad for me, but that's what I see you doing. So we got to learn how to articulate and move forward, because the mindset, good morning, Janet. The mindset is something that only you, I say this all the time, only you, that has to be intentional. Nobody else can make you want to change. So now you're realizing that this dysfunction is a prison. This thing is holding you captive and you can't get out because you don't even know how to get out. So then as we continue to go on today, I want you guys to be reminded that dysfunction will hold you captive, take control over your life, and imprison you. So now you're trying to figure out, man, where I'm at, where's the next step? How do I get there? And what is really going on with me? The dysfunction is like the prison guard. That's the only way that I can kind of figure out how to say it. It's like a prison guard. And dysfunction will keep you held in captivity, tell you when to eat, tell you when to sleep. Good morning, Jalen. I can't see without my glasses, but good morning. Dysfunction will hold you captive. Dysfunction will take control over your whole life and it imprisons you. Dysfunctions have you thinking that it's okay to just yell at people just because that's a conversation. That's how I talk. That's how I communicate. Dysfunction will tell you that the only way you can have a real relationship with somebody or a real relationship with a guy or a female is to be intimate with them. That's dysfunction. Dysfunction will tell you that nobody wants to support you because that's what it looks like. So now you've isolated yourself. Dysfunction will tell you that you shouldn't even try to do a thing because guess what? Nobody is going to believe you. Nobody is going to even want to do what it is that you have to do. So why even try? Why even say that? Dysfunction is a mess. And so what's starting to happen is now you're operating in this confusion. You're operating in captivity as if you're free, right? And so a lot of times, because most of us have not been to jail, so I can only go by what I see. So when you see images and movies and stuff of people in jail, they're confined to this little they're confined to this little compartment. And they can only move so much. And while they in there, is other people in there with them. So it could be four in there. But what's starting to happen in the dysfunction of your life is that there's no more room. This is when you break. This is when depression will set in. This is how suicidal thoughts begin to manifest. Because at some point in your life, that dysfunction, you realize that thing is toxic. As you begin to hold grasp, remember we operate on the four pillars: acknowledge, accept, embrace, and evolve. And in the midst of the acknowledgement, you realize that all this dysfunction in my life is toxic. And it's not just toxic to me, but it's toxic to everybody else around me. I can't function properly because I'm spilling all this toxicity on other people. I spill it where I go. People can smell the dysfunction. They can smell the toxic. I can feel it when I walk. I can feel it when I talk. How do I get out of this prison? When you understand that dysfunction is your mindset, you have been conditioned to believe a lie. But because you don't realize that the dysfunction is what's holding you captive. The dysfunction is what's keeping you from getting that next promotion. The dysfunction could be what's keeping you from getting married. The dysfunction can be what's keeping you from going back to school. The dysfunction can be what's keeping you from starting your business, because dysfunction holds you captive and it removes all of your freedoms. You got to understand, remember on yesterday, we talked about dysfunction and how fear operates in that. So low self-esteem and self-doubt, that's dysfunction. That holds you captive. So that keeps you from starting that business, going back to school. Whatever it is that you want to do is holding you captive, and it's restricting your movement. It's restricting your thoughts. It's restricting your mind processing what you're really worth, because you are in captivity. You have been conditioned. Life has conditioned you. Your family has conditioned you. Your environment has conditioned you. Your peers have conditioned you. Your religion has conditioned you. You have to understand that there are some people that have been conditioned to believe a lie for so long. I keep saying I'm going to look it up and I don't. But there is this scientific term, I promise y'all, that you pass down generational beliefs from generation to generation without ever saying a thing about it. Without ever saying anything. You just passing it down, passing it down. You know why? Because that's generational silence. If you're in an abusive, hey sis, good morning. If you're in an abusive relationship, right? And your daughter or your son see you in an abusive relationship, right? And you don't say, you know what, guys? This, you can say it all day, but you never leave. So all they see is the daddy being abusive or the mom being abusive. So now they get in that relationship. They get in that same kind of relationship because they have been conditioned to believe that that's love. And then now they're teaching their children the same thing, because you didn't say this ain't the way, and neither did you take an action, be it leaving, be it getting counseling. All you keep doing is conditioning the dysfunctional behavior. If you lie, right? Now you're teaching your children that it's okay to lie. So you're conditioning them to be little manipulators. Why? Because that's what you've done, because that's what you've seen. So as you begin to operate in this dysfunction, when I told y'all what's happening is, y'all, it gets so good to me sometimes. What's happening is this. You ready? Because you have all this dysfunction going on in your head, going on in your mind. You have all these different things that's happening, that's operating, right? And after a while, there's no more room. So what's happening is the conditions are getting so crazy that it's overcrowded. There's no more room. It's leaking everywhere. The conditions are unbearable. Nobody wants to be around you. You don't even want to be around yourself. Remember yesterday, we had to do self-reflection. You had to get up close and personal with yourself. There is no more space in your life for dysfunction. There is no more room. So how do I move forward from this? Now, all the dysfunction in my life done got comfortable, but it ain't no more space. There is no more. That's how you pass it down from generation to generation. Because now what happens in real life when a prison gets overcrowded? What do? They build another prison instead of working on the problem. So what you've done is, when you have your children or whoever's connected to you, you build them up to take on more dysfunction, because you don't have any more room to hold it. And you're not trying to figure out a better way to free yourself, because you don't even know how to do it. You don't even understand how to do it. You're not even sure how to operate on how to do it. So what you're doing is you're trying to figure out, well, how in the world do I get free from this? Getting free is not you building more space. It's not you hiding away. You have to acknowledge that this is not where I want to be. Your mind has no more space. You can't take any more room. And what you will not do in this season is build another facility to house the dysfunction. In this season, you will be free. Like, that's what you got to say. You got to literally say, in this season, I will be free because I'm going to acknowledge that it's me. I'm going to accept the gift of the truth that it's me. I'm going to embrace that it's me. And I'm going to evolve from it because I will no longer walk in the prison of dysfunction. Like, sometimes you got to be able to get that thing so down in your, like, in your spirit. Like, it's got to be so down in you. There has to be an urgency about it because we've gotten so comfortable in the dysfunction. We have no urgency. We make excuses about our attitude. We make excuses about our reckless decisions. We make this excuses about how we hurt others because they hurt us. So we become so comfortable in our decision making, in our dysfunction, that we think this is life. But you cannot walk in your purpose until you stop operating in dysfunction. Dysfunction, again, captivity. This is prison. You don't want to always be waiting on someone else to give you permission to be you. That's prison life. Dysfunction tells you how you're going to interact. Dysfunction tells you what type of relationship you're going to get in. Dysfunction tells you how your job is going to see, because you're passing it down. Remember, you're passing down this dysfunction from generation to generation. So you're not passing down generational wealth. You're passing down generational dysfunction. And you look at your seed and your children and those around you, and you're like, well, why they act like that? They act like that because you act like that. I ain't never tell. No, but your actions operate in dysfunction. So, Tisha, what we got to do then? The first thing we got to do is 4 pillars. Acknowledge, this is me. Accept the gift of the truth. So acknowledge, accept, embrace it, and evolve from it. But what happens is, see, prison has an ability, has the power to make you believe you free. So they give you 1 hour in the yard to do whatever it is that you're going to do. But in actuality, you're not free. So what's happening is you're looking at your freedom through bars of captivity. You know it's light on the other side. You know it's freedom on the other side. But because that dysfunctional behavior keeps you locked up in captivity, you're not even sure if you even want freedom. Because some of you have tasted freedom. You've been able to release yourself from certain dysfunction. But fear, again, that mastermind, oh my goodness. He has you go right back to what you know. Because some people are comfortable being locked up. And I know you don't want to believe that, but that's a fact. Dysfunction will have you thinking, you know what? I'm better off right here. I'm just better off not starting a business. I'm just better off not asking for the promotion. I'm just better off staying in this abusive relationship. I'm just better off where I'm at right now. I'm better off in this pit. That is dysfunction. Dysfunction has you returning to other dysfunctional relationships. Yeah, you were in an abusive relationship. Yeah, you got out. But then you got in another one. And then you got out. And then you got in another one. In actuality, you never got out of the abusive relationship with yourself. That's why you keep going to what's familiar to you. Dysfunction. The prison of dysfunction got you believing that it's safer for you to be behind bars than to walk in ultimate freedom of your mind. How do you access that freedom? You got to acknowledge that you're in captivity. Accept it, embrace it, and evolve from it. There are so many other tools. There are so many other things that we can be focused on, but it's hard to do behind bars. So all you getting, oh my God, this is so vivid. So what you getting is letters from other people and their freedom. So now dysfunction got you feeling envious. And dysfunction got you feeling jealous. And dysfunction got you feeling angry because you can't go out when you want to go out. Because dysfunction got you in captivity. You can't play with everybody else because dysfunction got you in captivity. And everybody else around you is dysfunctional. So now you've bonded with other dysfunctional people. That's my bond. We got so much in common. Yeah, both of you angry. Don't even know why. Because you're hurt. Because you're broken. And none of that feel good. Because some of y'all dysfunction is you walking around broken and ain't nobody put you together. So you know when glass break. Good morning, Miss Hill. You know when glass break and it shatter, that's broken. So some of y'all are broken. And what's happening is you can't even get up. Your dysfunction just got you stretched out. So every time somebody walk across you, they getting cut. Because your dysfunction got you thinking this is the best place for me to be. So I'm just going to be bound up. I'm just going to be locked up in this nonsense. Because as you got to understand, ain't no real freedom in dysfunction. You're going to get a phone call every now and again. That's time because people can only be around you for a little bit because that dysfunction start acting crazy. Then I want y'all to put this, like I'm trying to put it together. Then you know how you got that mama who going to be, baby, you could do better. Baby, you could get better. You know that mama gonna make sure she put some money on your book. She know you should have been left that relationship, but mama not gonna leave you. Mama gonna be right there for you. Mama gonna support you. Mama gonna do the best she can, but in actuality, until you're ready to release yourself from that dysfunction, it don't even matter because you got to change your mindset in order to change your life. Until you believe that you deserve better, you're going to stay in the pit that you're in. Until you believe that freedom is rightfully yours, you're going to sit right there. Why? Because what do I tell y'all? One of my favorite scriptures is in this Gospel of Thomas. When you know who you are, and that's the problem. Life has conditioned you to what it says you should be, but you have no clue of who you are. And dysfunction is keeping you locked up. So you don't even know what freedom really tastes like because you've been in this thing so long. So long. And so now you're trying to figure out, okay, Tisha, okay, then what? Then what's next? Then how do we do this? So let's understand what a prison is. It's a state of confinement or captivity, a place of confinement, especially for lawbreakers. Now, I wanted to highlight that lawbreaker stuff because I need y'all to understand the importance of that. So let's go over that again. What is prison? A prison is a state of confinement or captivity, a place of confinement, especially for lawbreakers. Now, I need y'all to understand that last part, that lawbreaker part, because that's two-folded. That's two-folded right there. What do you mean that's two-folded? Because some of you are sitting in captivity because somebody else broke the law in your life. Somebody broke the law concerning you, but you're the one in prison for it. You're the one operating in it. You're the one that's being held captive and confined to this wall because you've been conditioned to believe that prison is where you're supposed to be. You got to understand that thing. The lawbreaker. The lawbreaker got you in captivity. You didn't abuse yourself in the beginning. I did not molest myself. I did not tell myself in the beginning that God didn't hear me. But the lawbreaker, some kind of way, got me held in captivity because I'm walking in the dysfunction of the lie that they told me. The lie is it was my fault. The lie is that I wanted it. The lie is that I thought it was okay, so I didn't say nothing. But when you understand another law that you keep breaking and why you keep staying in this captivity, it's because you don't know who you are. And that thing saying when you don't know who you are as the children of the Father, it says when you know who you are as the children of the Father, then you will be known. Until then, you are in poverty and you are the poverty. And when I'm trying to tell y'all, that's a mindset. You ever have people that don't mind going back to jail? I do that time like it ain't nothing. Bruh, sis, that's not cute. Those are the people who keep going back to the toxic relationship because the lawbreaker has convinced them that it's okay to serve this little bit amount of time. It ain't gonna be nothing. He always do that. She always do that. It don't matter. My job always treated me like that, but you still go back. You still go back. The lawbreaker has convinced you that this is where you're supposed to be. Why? Because you don't know who you are. And when you don't know who you are, you walk in poverty and you are poverty. That means that you are poor in spirit, poor in education, poor finance. Like you are, but like, listen. Ooh, oh my goodness. Like this feels so good. This feels so good because I need y'all to get it. How long are you going to sit behind bars as a lawbreaker? You're back in you in there as the lawbreaker because you don't know who you are. You don't know that greater is he that is. You don't know none of that because you don't know who you are. So sometimes you got to figure out. And in this process of mindset, right? This whole mindset situation that we got going on right here, all up in here, it's going to show you some stuff. It's going to teach you some things. It's going to allow you to understand that, you know what? I got to do better because I don't want to be held in captivity. I don't want to be confined to believing that this is all I got for me. This is it. I don't have anything else to offer. Nothing. Nothing. Where's the key? The key is the 4 steps because some of y'all want it easy. See, the thing about pain is when pain hits you hard enough, you know not to go back, but you've become numb to the pain of your dysfunction. But I got to wake you up. I got to make the pain so real again. That's the part of accepting the gift of the truth because you become numb to it. You become numb to that you deserve better. You become numb to that you are better. You become numb to that you are a leader. You become numb to it. And I got to wake you up with the gift of the truth. And in that is the pain, but in that is your freedom. I got to bring the sunlight back to you. You deserve more than an hour of freedom. You deserve so much more. But the dysfunction, it got you so bound that you've gotten okay with just seeing people through a glass wall or through bars. You've gotten so conditioned to that. This is all I deserve is temporary stimulation from those that love me because I'm back behind this wall that I've created. I put myself in a confinement because of my hurts, because of my wounds, because of the injuries, because of the things that I've been through. I put myself in this thing. And then the fact that the lawbreaker violated me and convinced me to serve time for what they did to me. Every time you justify your choices because of somebody else's issue with you, you put yourself in confinement. I am not the lawbreaker. I did not violate myself. I did not molest myself. I did not do those things. But I allowed the lawbreaker to convince me it was my fault. So I served time until I realized I had to acknowledge that that was not my fault. But as I got older, the choices that I chose to make helped seal me and keep me in that confinement because I didn't want to acknowledge the gift of the truth. And the truth was that at some point, my choices became my own. And that's what I need y'all to see today. Freedom is right there. You know who the prison guard is? You. You hold a key to your freedom. How bad do you want it? Do you believe in your truth? Like this one was, I promise y'all, I was not expecting it to kind of go this way, but I really feel like my heart is so heavy right now. I love what I do as a life coach. I promise I'm all about empowerment. But let me tell you something. Don't reach out to no life coach if you're not ready to be truthful with yourself. You gotta be truthful with you first before you could be truthful with anybody else. And when you're in that self-reflection mode, that happens in prison. That happens in captivity. That self-reflection. Because now you got to realize that, you know what? This me. And I don't like what it feel like. I don't like what it look like. I don't like what it sound like. How do I change it? And it hurts sometimes when in that self-awareness, you realize you hold a key. This is all you. How bad do you want your freedom? How bad do you want your freedom? How bad do you want your freedom? Sis, bro, you got to get in there and change your mindset. Remove the dysfunction. Embrace, accept, acknowledge the gift that the truth is and evolve from it. Because if you don't, you're going to literally pass down generational dysfunction and not generational wealth. So again, what are you passing down? What we doing, fam? Are we passing down generational wealth or are we passing down generational dysfunction? Are we putting on a facade? I need to know what we're doing. Like, I want y'all to ask yourself this question. What am I passing down? What am I sending? What am I telling my family, my children, my nieces, my nephews? Am I passing down generational wealth or am I passing down generational dysfunction? What are you educating yourself about? Because until you acknowledge the truth, there is no way you're going to be able to pass down generational wealth, because you have to be willing to acknowledge the truth. And the truth is, we keep passing down dysfunction, 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 because nobody told us how to be free, how to get out of the captivity of our minds. But I'm going to tell you how to do it. The first step is to acknowledge that this not right. Yes, Tamika, like a relay race. Y'all got to acknowledge that this not right. You got to acknowledge that, wait a minute, I don't want my kids to do what I did. And I don't want my children to pass that down to their children. The dysfunction has to stop with somebody. Somebody got to be the light. Because at this point, all we're passing down is generational dysfunction. We're not passing down no generational wealth. Just dysfunction. And I like that, Tamika. We are batoning it. We passing it down, passing it. Boom, you got it. Boom, you got it. And the sad thing is, we in a race, like we're running so fast. Oh my God, Tamika, I seen that. That was good. That was real good. It's just a baton. You just passing it. You just passing it. And the thing is, you a team. So it's you and your husband. Tag teaming generational dysfunction. You a single mom, but you got support with your mom and them. Y'all passing down generational dysfunction. When are we going to pass down the wealth that is so rightfully so? And know what the wealth is? Because I need y'all to understand the wealth is your freedom. That's the wealth. The wealth has nothing at all to do with a materialistic wealth. The wealth is your freedom. The finish line is your freedom. But you're not going to get that until you acknowledge that there's an issue. How bad do you want your freedom? When are you going to be tired of passing down generational wealth like you in a relay race? Who going to be the angriest? Who going to be the poorest? Who going to have the nastiest attitude? Who going to have the lowest self-esteem? This is what you're passing down. Tamika, that was so good. Like, I can see the baton with the words on it and you running with it. I'm angry and my daughter going to be angrier than me. I'm angry and my son going to be angrier than me. Pass down. On your mark, get set, go. You got to realize it didn't just start with you. When you start going back in your family seed, you realize, oh, this been here a minute. So that's why people always say stuff like generational curses. I like to say generational silence, because ain't nobody saying nothing. Ain't nobody told you this is not the way it's supposed to be. So you become numb to it. And it's so funny, like, you're running a relay race in captivity. Now, how crazy is that? Technically, you locked up, but you still passing down that dysfunction from generation to generation to generation to generation. Oh, Miss Susan, I know a lot of us wish we knew that years ago, but we know today, honey, and we going to accept, acknowledge, embrace, and evolve from it. We going to move from that thing. We going to move from that thing. How do I get out, Tisha? How do I maneuver this thing? How do I shift from here to here? 4 steps. I'm not going to get away from it. You got to acknowledge it. Today, what's happening is that light bulb done went on in your light, in your head. And your mind said, wait, Oh, so now you're acknowledging it. That's the first step to freedom. Some of you are just now seeing the bars of your captivity. Some of you are just now seeing it. Oh, wait, I'm in prison. You just saw it. That's acknowledgement. Because all this time you thought you had freedom. All this time you thought you've been free. No, no, no. Dysfunction had you captive. And the acknowledgement just happened. Now accept it as the gift that it is. And the truth don't feel good. Many of us put ourselves in captivity because of our choices. And some of us have been in captivity because the lawbreakers convinced us that we broke the law. So now we've been in confinement. If you've ever been violated in your life, you do live in a confinement type thing because it makes you scared of everything. Remember, yesterday we learned that fear is the mastermind behind all this stuff. So you create this box, this prison. But some of you didn't even realize you was in prison. It just hit you. You just acknowledge it because you just saw the bars. And everybody bars don't look the same. Everybody prison experience is not the same. But the one thing that is actually the same is that you're still in prison. And you won't be free until they free you. But in this, you won't be free until you free yourself. Because you house the key to your freedom. When you stop allowing the dysfunction to control your life. When you stop allowing the dysfunction to convince you that it's A-OK to be where you at. When you stop allowing that dysfunction to tell you you don't need your freedom papers. You need them. You need them. You need all of them. So what we gonna do? How do I unlock my freedom? What does it look like? How do I unlock my freedom? My question to you is, what does your freedom look like? I need you to write that down on a piece of paper. I don't want you to put it up here. I just want to know, what does your freedom look like to you? Because everybody's freedom is not the same. Some of you say you want financial freedom. Well, you need financial wisdom, financial knowledge, financial understanding. You need that in order to have financial freedom. Some of you say you want to be free in your mind. Well, you got to unprison your mind first. You got to declutter the everything that's held you captive. So what does your freedom look like? Because I don't know what that looks like to you. Your freedom and my freedom are totally different, because what is holding you captive may look like what's holding me captive, but we both own our own keys. Nobody else has the keys. You could be in an abusive relationship. I promise you. When you decide you're ready to be free, you take your own keys to your freedom. And that means even if I know I might end up dying behind this, how do I unlock my freedom? How do I take it to that next step? How, Tisha? How? And many of you have already started it. You've already started that thing. The lock right there. And the thing is about this picture that I really like is that the freedom, you don't even realize that it ain't even there that long. All you know is that I've been in these bars. And the key is to really acknowledging and understanding that I got to shift this thing. What does your freedom look like? It's not even locked, y'all. That's what I'm trying to get y'all to see. I want y'all to understand you're not locked in. It's all your mindset. You know what this just reminded me of? Let me tell you what this just reminded me of. Do you guys remember in The Wiz, because I like The Wiz, and in The Wizard of Oz, right? That they told Dorothy that if she really wanted to go home, all she had to do was say that there's no place like home. Tap them little feet 3 times together and say there's no place like home. That's all she had to do. She had to acknowledge that I don't want to be here. Mind you, everything in Oz looked pretty. They had the Emerald City, everything. The grass looked greener on the other side. But Dorothy realized this ain't where I want to be. And what I'm trying to tell y'all right now is that you have always held the key to your freedom. You've always held it. You have always held the keys to your freedom. Today, some of you are literally just seeing the bars of your captivity, and that's okay. It's a process. Some of you are just now accepting the gift of the truth, and that stuff hurts. It's okay. It's a process. Some of you are just able to embrace all of that stuff, and that don't feel good either. It's okay, because it's a process. Because in the end, you will evolve from it. But my goal is not temporary evolvement, because some of you have found freedom and went back to captivity. That's not what I want. Not today. No, ma'am. No, sir. What I want for you is to ultimately be empowered. You need the proper tools. You need the proper resources. You need a strategic plan of action. You need to know what your freedom looks like. And you need to know that you're willing to be truthful with yourself. Don't pay for another coach if you're going to lie to yourself. Don't go to not damn another conference if you're lying to yourself. Don't have damn another meeting with nobody if you're lying to yourself. If you are not willing to be truthful with yourself, I tell my clients this all the time. Don't call me and don't waste your money. Because I no refunds. I don't give refunds. Because don't waste your time. Because you're not being honest and truthful with yourself at all. And y'all, I done went way over my time by 11 minutes. But I felt like this, I felt so like heavy. And that's the only way I can explain it. And some of y'all just got it. See, that's the thing about freedom. I can talk as much as I want to talk, right? That's freedom. Not just talk about anything, but I know how to empower. If I know that, how can I say that earnestly? Because I operate in my purpose. Thanks, sis. I operate in my purpose. And when you operate in your purpose, in that is your freedom. In that is your freedom. I need y'all to get it. So again, I love y'all. Y'all don't, the most valuable thing we all possess is time. If y'all gonna sit on here with me for over 30 minutes, then I want you to leave empowered. Because that don't make no sense. For you to be here this long and don't got nothing? No, ma'ams. No, sirs. Leave empowered. You hear me? Like literally, y'all. Because I can do this all day. But most of us need those private sessions. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But don't go to no coach if you're not willing to be truthful with yourself. So I love y'all. I am running my special. So the Mindset Matters course is a 7-week course. Listen, this stuff on this live, baby, listen, y'all getting this fresh off the press. I'm just going to be honest. But how I am here is just how the videos are on my 7-week course in the Mindset Matters course. So what it is that I'm still running this $39 special. You can go to llanderson.org. Click the link or you'll find it right on the front page. It says Mindset Matters Bootcamp. It is only $39. And that's going to stay that way until Friday at 11:59. And then it goes up to $100. This is love you, Susan. This is a 7-week online. Every week, a new module unlocks. Because some of y'all like to run through stuff so fast. That's not right. Don't do that. Take your time, mull over the questions. Are you really empowered? Do you know what it means to be empowered? Like all of that stuff. So what I need y'all to do is go ahead and register. It's $39. I'm telling you, these lives, how animated I am, that's how I am in these videos. But some of you don't necessarily have to talk to somebody. I'm that type of person. When I think I got it, and I'll go through it on my own. The thing about this boot camp is that you have access to it. It's lifetime access, so you can always go back to it for $39, 7 weeks of empowerment at your pace, at your time. If you say you want to do some coaching sessions with me, call me. I got you. We'll work it all out. But I just need y'all to understand how to be free. I want y'all to walk in total freedom of the mind. And in order to do that, you got to change your mindset in order to change your life. Y'all, I felt this thing this morning. It felt so good. It really did feel good because I love what I do. I love empowering people. I authentically love what I do because I'm walking in my purpose. And the only way I could have walked in my purpose was that I had to acknowledge that I had to change my mindset. And that's a constant work because you've been conditioned to such dysfunction. It's easy to go back to that. So easy. So I want you guys to be encouraged, but I don't just want you to be encouraged. I want you to be empowered. I thank you guys for coming. I love y'all. I love y'all so much. If you need to get in contact with me, here are the ways that you can get in contact with me. You can follow me on Instagram. You can email me at you can email me from my website, llanderson.org. That's also where you can register for the course. You can call me at 1-863-397-2912. You have a wonderful day too, Tamika. Thank you, Miss Janet. Or you can email me at Latisha@llanderson.org. Thanks, Veronica. You guys have a great, 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 great day. And thank you for giving me one of the most valuable things you possess, and that's your time. Until tomorrow, same time, same place. Love you guys, and make it a great day.